an international team in 56 countries all over the world, including Malaysia and Singapore. Yeah, they love travel around the world to support their leaders, and also they love also be at home raising their children because they have time freedom. Right? Okay, you want to listen from them? Yeah. Okay, let's welcome Platinum, Elaine, Jeff, and Michelle Altgilbers.
You don't want to say anything? Really? Well, I was hoping you were going to do this. So, how's everybody? Good. Love Dave's part. Love Jace's part. I'm glad he didn't do it in Korean. It's great to be here, and it's been such a long time, because the pandemic, right? Yeah. So that's the end. But now we're here. Now we're here, and I'm glad we're all in this room together so that we can have this conversation. And I think there's a lot of things on my mind to talk about, but I would say that how many of you feel like things have sort of changed in the world? Everything feels different. Maybe the business is a little harder to do right now. People aren't as interested as they used to be. I'm glad your hands didn't go up. See, we have to be careful about the lies we tell ourselves. We have to be careful about the stories that we wrongly conclude. And Dave was talking about companies that were down. That's right. How many of your volumes are down right now? Let's see some honesty. It's not like it was 2 years ago. Oh, there it is. Somebody's back there. It's my stupid downline. Okay. So here's the thing. Why? It is true according to DSA. A lot of companies are down actually. But like Dave so wisely said, why are we not out of business like some of these others? It's true. Jeunesse, they took on, they're not doing good at all. Took on debt, and then they had to make a balloon payment they couldn't make. What's the other one? Juice Plus. They took on $800 million in debt when the company, J. Martin, sold the company and the buyers came in. That's a big company. And when their sales dipped, hard to make those payments. Isogenics, another one, used to be $1 billion company, went down to $200 million. Really bad. Again, For Life, because we never took on any debt. And during the pandemic, we didn't farm out to a third-party source to have our products made. We encapsulate our own products, right? So during the pandemic, we weren't affected because we didn't rely on outside sources. So we did quite well. And so the thing about it is, when we think about it, I think one thing is that when we come out of the pandemic, how many of you did well during the pandemic? Oh, look at all these hands now. Yeah, man, send another virus. Okay. Anyway, so when we came out of it, it was like, what do we do now? It's like Dave was talking about Zoom calls and all that. But I think a lot of leaders in different companies around the world, it's like, do you go back to venue meetings? You mean I gotta talk to somebody? Yes, you do. You gotta talk to people now. You gotta meet them face to face. You can't have a screen between you. A lot of people just, wasn't really sure. And for some, it took a while to even get them out of the house, right? I say that they're both valuable. They're both valuable. Zoom meetings are valuable, but there's nothing like getting together in person, like we're doing now, right? This is a good thing, isn't it? Getting together. And so the thing is, this is the opportune time right now, because the next 3 years is going to really determine who the winners and who the losers are. The people that adapt and change. And so I like to use both. And that is Zoom, as well as venue meetings where we get together and we experience relationships, because that's what we are. That's what it's all about. But this is the time. But here's the important thing. The important thing is we need to be a leader. And that's the difference. And so when we think about it, many of us started as leaders. We started as leaders when we joined. And as we moved up into the ranks, whether you're a bronze or a bronze elite, silver, silver elite, or you're gold, gold elite, or platinum, we sort of shifted from being a leader to a manager. A manager, you know what that is. You know, like the last day of the month, and you call your bronze leader and say, hey, it's the last day of the month, you're short, can you top up? Okay, it's like that. In other words, we're managing a structure. We know exactly who we need to have qualified by the end of the month. What's the problem with that? The problem with that is we're not growing. The only thing we're doing is maintaining. That's the problem with that. Does everybody get that?
Yes.
Okay. And so what we need to do as leaders is, that's just it. We need to go back to being leaders, not managers. We make our money by being leaders and teaching our people to be leaders. That's why we have the fast start right now. How many of you are using that? Okay, good, good. We need to get all our people on board with it, because we all need to sponsor. We all need to sponsor. Whether you're a platinum, a gold, a bronze, a diamond, presidential, we all need to be productive. That's how we're going to have our team, because you can't sustain it. We cannot sustain a ranked position if nobody's sponsoring it. It's unsustainable. Why? Some people die. Some people quit. Some people just get distracted. You can never rely on the same people. And it's a big mistake to do that. The concept of, well, what about the thing about, work a few years and retire and do whatever you want? That's a myth. There's no truth to it. Whoever told you that lied, okay? Now, I would say that I've been in for like almost 25 years now. But out of 25 years, I don't know. I might have worked 8. And what did I do the rest of the time? Anything I want. But you can't do that with a job. You can't do that with a career. But that's what network marketing is. It frees us up to be able to do the things we want to do. So the thing that we want to do is definitely shift back from management to leadership. The next 3 years is going to determine the winning companies versus the losing companies. And the winning companies they understand this concept, because they understand, we came out of a pandemic, mankind's trying to sort of adjust. But let me tell you, people are still going to concerts. How many people go to concerts in this country? Right? How many people go to movie theaters? We just walked through a mall, there were people everywhere. The thing is, people are getting together. And so that's the thing that we have to realize is venue events, meeting people is so important. So that's point 1 that I wanted to share with you, was we need to shift back from being, we were a leader, we're all guilty of this, going into management, and then we realized that is not healthy. We got to teach our people to get out of management, back into leadership. And that's what the Fast Start is all about. And that's what we need to do. So, has everybody got that? Yes. That point? Okay, good. I don't know. I don't like standing on this stage. Anyway, so now I feel a little bit better. Here's the other thing. Now, here's another bad habit that happened during the pandemic. We sort of became introverted a little bit, right? And so now, coming out of it, how is our social skills? How are we doing in that area? You know what I found is funny? Is most people that are in social media are not social at all. It's really, I know it's a joke. Why do you call it social media, you know? Hey man, I just posted something. I want 100 likes. No, I'm not going to engage in your content. Why would I? You know? They're not social. And so the thing is, I want you to work on your social skills in social media and in public. We got to get good at that. If you're going to be a great leader and a great recruiter, you're going to have to get good at your skills. Your skills are so important. Let me give you an example. So like last December, I saw a post, somebody in my Facebook network, I didn't know him that well. But anyway, he posted something about drums, and I just commented to his post. I said, oh, that's great, man. I said, that's a nice looking drum set. I'm a drummer too. Well, he commented to my comment, and I commented back to his comment. He commented back to my comment. That's called the conversation, by the way. A lot of people forgot that during the pandemic. And so then he says, you know, we should get together for coffee. And I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. I tell you what, why don't you come on over to my house for coffee? He comes over to my house for coffee. So, but I don't try to recruit him. It's meant to be a, you know, time to meet, greet, get to know one another. That's it. And I leave it at that. But within 2 weeks, he's joining my business. A few months ago, he made silver. Yeah. How did all that happen? Because I engaged in somebody's content in social media by being social. I could have scrolled, drum set, I got one too. You know, just scroll. That's right, most people scroll. But I'm saying, just get good at being social in your social media. Now, when you get around people, do the same thing. I set a goal. If you go out in public, set a goal. I remember in the old days, I say the old days, we're going back, I don't know, it's scary. 35 years ago or more. Larry Thompson, Mark Hughes of Herbalife, they used to talk about that. About they'd set a goal, they would put 10 coins in their left pocket, and they would not come home until all 10 coins were in the right pocket. Now each coin represented what? A person. That's right. A prospect. Jace remembers that. And so they would prospect at least 10 a day, and then they were done. They would, you know, each coin. Got one, put it in the other pocket. Got another, put it in the other pocket. That was their goal. I want you to have that same mentality. When you go out, set a goal to talk to somebody. If you're in Starbucks, don't look at your phone. I mean, if you're standing in line, talk to the person next to you. I know I'm scaring you. This is called a conversation, by the way. So, I mean, I get it. I mean, and you women are great at it. We guys, we really suck at it, okay? But I mean, you women are great at it because, you know, a woman can look at a woman's shoes and say, oh, I just love your shoes. Where did you get them, if you don't mind me asking? You know, I mean, if a guy does that, hey man, I dig your shoes, and he's like, you know, with guys, we struggle. I mean, we got to get creative. I'll look at a guy and say, okay, who's your ball team this year? Yeah, that's right. But you got to get the conversation going. I remember one time I went into a restaurant. I generally like to go to the lounge area of a restaurant where they got the flat screen TVs. And it's a community table where people will sit and eat. So I think it's perfect, you know. I'll go in there and just sit and just strike up a conversation. And I remember one time I was talking to 3 men who worked for 3 different companies. And I asked them the question. I said, hey, and this was during commercial break. I said, what do you do for work? And each one told me what he did, the companies they work for and all that. Well, what do you think they said to me?
Ask you back, what do you do?
I did have water. Oh, it's right there, thanks. What do you think they said to me?
What do you do?
What do you do?
See?
And that's the reason why I always ask them that question, because I know it's coming back. And so then I replied to them, I said, you know, it's like this. Somebody introduced a product to me, I liked it. I liked it very much. And they said, you know, you can get online and take a membership and buy it wholesale instead of paying retail, and you'll save money. And that made sense to me. And they said to me, and if you know people like yourself that would enjoy that product, then just share your link, because they're going to give you a link when you join. Just share a link to your page, and when they purchase, it's going to very quickly equal out what you're spending out on your own products, so you're getting your products for free. And that made sense to me. And then they said, and when they do the same thing, you're going to get paid on those orders too, no matter how big that becomes. And this is what got me. And I said, and you know what? Ever since then, I've never needed a job. I've lived off residual income. Yeah. Ever since then, I've never needed a job. I've lived off residual income. And they were shocked. All three of them just looked at me, and the one guy said, well, I like to do that. And the other guy, I like to do that. The third guy, I like to do that. I said, oh, really? And they said, well, do you have a car? No. But I'm in Facebook. Are you in Facebook? Yeah. Let's add one another, and I'll send you some links on Facebook Messenger. We'll go from there. How's that? That's what we did. And then we went right into the ball game. That's being social, friends. You're standing in line, you get to know somebody, you only got a few minutes. You have a short engagement. Hey, I enjoyed our conversation. I don't know that I'll ever see you again. Can we stay in touch? Are you in Facebook or Instagram? Oh, you are? Great. Let's add one another. Then they know you. You got a connection now. Now we got to go from connection to relationship. And so then when they get home and then they noticed in Messenger you sent them something, hey, it was great meeting you. And then they look at your content, and that's important. If I was to look at your content on Facebook or Instagram, what would it tell me about you? If I click on about you, what would it tell me about you? Or what you post, what would it tell me about you? So it's very important to take a look at that. How are we doing in that area? Because really, that's a great calling card. So when you go out and you meet somebody, that's just the beginning. And then when you add one another, and then they want to go to your page, what are they going to see? That's the important thing. Let it be something that tells them something really positive about you. And so this brings me to my how do you like that? The idea of being social?
Yeah. Good.
How important that is? And here's the other thing. People that you talk to, never give up on anybody. I mean, I can remember when Dave and his partner, Mark McCarty at the time, I can remember when they first talked to me about For Life, they said, are you interested? I said, no. But inside I was saying, yes, I really am, but I just don't want you to know it. It's really true. You're going to find that some of your best leaders are people, they're very careful about the interest they show, because that's the way they protect themselves. In other words, I wanted that space to evaluate it, and I didn't want any pressure. And I was unsure. And I can remember, when finally when I saw, or rather, when I heard the information on a conference call we did, the stories And then I heard Dr. Rob Robertson's message on transfer factor about what it was. I said, okay, science got the stories, and that's what sells this thing. I said, okay. And then finally I said, well, I am interested. And I can remember them saying, well, you ready to get going? And no. I'm gonna go paint my house. It's true. I went out, that house was built in the year 1860. And whether it needed paint or not, it was gonna get it. And so I'm up on the ladder painting, because I just came out of a company that was sold and everything was ruined, right? Has a lot of negative emotions, right? And I was practicing some really great affirmations. And out there painting, I hate network marketing. All these owners are dogs. We build it, they destroy it. And I did that about 1,000 times, you know. Meanwhile, Dave's calling me up and saying, hey man, you ready to run? And I said, I'm painting my house, Dave. Well, how long are you gonna be painting? It's a big house, Dave. He goes back, tells Mark, I don't think he's gonna do it. Oh, no, he's gonna do it. He's just angry. Follow him up. And then he calls me up, New Year's Eve and says, hey, are you ready to run? And I said, it's like this. Tonight, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna think and I'm gonna drink. And then tomorrow's my go date. The next day, I can remember going to in a room, closing the door, thinking, oh, God, I need a psychiatrist. I need someone to talk to, a therapist, something. I can't believe I'm going to do this again. And you have to understand, that was, I didn't bring a team over. I didn't bring a team. That meant start, because everybody was burned out, emotionally destroyed, the last company, that's it. I had to start all over again. And what's interesting is that, when the pandemic came and they talked about shelter at home, you can't, everybody's going panicking, thinking, how are you going to do this business from home? Almost 25 years ago, that's what I did. I did a self-imposed lockdown. I didn't talk to one person in person. I didn't do a single meeting. And from my desk, I sponsored 27 new people, and I had a team of 800 in 90 days. Yeah. And so finally, and during the pandemic, they came out with enhancements to our compensation plan, right? Who remembers that, right? Yeah, okay. So, and they were great too, because when you think about it, we had International Diamond, which is what bronze now, right? 20,000 points. What's the next level at that time? Gold. 20,000, it's like this, it's like, okay, 20,000 points, the next rank is 250,000 points. Do you know what that's like? That's like somebody trying to jump over the Grand Canyon, right? Okay, you tell your leader, okay man, you ready? You ready to do this, dude? Yeah, man, I think I'm ready. No, you can do this. And he, oh man. Okay, give his girlfriend a t-shirt. That boy's gone. So that's the way it was like, right? And then now they put in the bridge, which is great, bronze elite and silver elite and all that. Great. All that was great. Until I saw this, until the company told me about this last position, platinum elite. I said, what? That's not great. No, that's not great at all. Well, they had to do it because they did it on every other position, so the platinums can't get off. Do you know how hard it is to get the platinum? Do you have any idea? What is this elite stuff? So then I remember talking to somebody at 4Life, one of my rep, and she was told by one of the executives, don't worry about it. Nobody's going to hit platinum elite for a few years. And then they did the promo, you remember that, on the rank positions. And And so then that was it. And here's the thing I want, and this brings me to my other point. You know, breaking rank is all about growth. This business is like getting on a bicycle, right? What happens when you get on a bicycle? What have you got to do? You got to pedal. And what happens if you don't pedal? You fall off the bike. That's the reason why we have no choice. And then I said that to myself. I said, well, Jeff, you've always said to your leaders, if you're not at a rank position that you want to be, it's only because you haven't made up your mind to do it yet. So you got to make up your mind. And here's the other thing. Nobody gets to a rank position by themselves. There's not an S on my shirt, right? There is no Superman. It's all done by permission. It's all done by a team effort. And here's the important thing. It can never be about you. See, I can't go to Sherry Dim and say, hey, I want to be a platinum elite because, you know, I want to get that bonus, you know. No, that would be such a selfish approach. You have to go to your leaders, and this is what I did back then. I said, do you want to be more? Do you want to have more? Do you want to break rank? And the answer was yes. So after I went to my golds and platinums, and we talked about it, and then of course I remember I think the promotion started in May that year, and then Sherry said because of Ramadan that would not be a good month. I think that's what we said. And then I said, okay, so then June 1st is our go date. See, that's the thing. You have to talk to your leaders, and again, it's got to be about them. And so that was the thing. Once I talked to golds and platinums, and I said, okay, let's get your bronze leaders on a Zoom call, and then let's get your presidentials on a Zoom call. And then that was always the question. Do you want to have more, be more? Do you want to break rank? And the answer was yes. I said, great, half the work is already finished. Now it just comes down to just a little more hard work and reading reports. And that was it. And I did that from my kitchen table during the pandemic. And every morning we were just doing Zooms where sometimes it's meetings, presentations, sometimes it's just motivational talks to a team, getting together with different individual teams and leaders, going over reports, saying, okay, let's look at where you're at. Like we're 10 days into the month. Let's look at your volume, where you're at. Okay, can I see your enroller report? What does that look like? Okay, you got 50 people here that you've enrolled. Okay, what's happening with them? I don't know. I haven't talked to them in a while. Well, we got to talk to them. We got to pick up the phone, talk to them. It was focused effort. And on the last day of June, I could remember waking up that morning, looking at my phone, and it was Platinum Elite. Yeah. And I knew everybody was tired. I knew everybody was exhausted because you have to understand, when you look at the Platinum Elite, it's not like it is now, because silvers can just have to have presidential elite legs, right? When I did it, it had to be bronze. And you had 27 bronze across at the bottom. That's insanity. Anyway, 27 across. When you look at the structure. I mean, it's not just having your ducks, it's getting them all to quack at the same time. Okay? So, and that was the thing. But it's amazing what you can do when you don't make it about you. Right? And I didn't make it about me. I made it about the team. And then after we did it, then I said, okay, let's get everybody on a call. I want to have a Zoom call about this. And I said, now, everybody's going to say we got lucky. And now that the bonus is, because you only get it one time, right, on breaking that rank. Because of that, I want us to do it again this month. Because you know what? I mean, we got more people with us now. That's right. It's easier to do it now than it was that month, the month before. Let's just do it. I said, I know you're tired. I'm tired, but let's do it. And they did. And they did. And so breaking rank is about growth. You can't get on a bicycle and stay on it if you don't pedal. So how many of you want to break rank? Okay. Good. So we got that point covered. Good. Isn't this good information?
Yes.
It really is. Because these are just things that have been on my mind lately. Now here's another one too. I want you to stay positive. Sometimes the world gets a little negative, gets a little crazy, like Dave was talking about earlier. You as a leader need to be a positive person. You need to be a beacon of light to your leaders. So what you post about, your stories, your reels, everything, try to keep it positive. Try to send it in a positive direction to your team. Why? Because most of your downline's connected to you in social media, in Facebook and Instagram. I don't do TikTok. Anyway, but and so you need to be the source of positive energy, because they get enough negativity out there in the world. And what they need to see that in you as a leader. And they need to imitate you. And you need to encourage that. You need to encourage that. So be a force of positive growth when you post in your social media. So, let me see. Got a few more minutes, and it's just a few. And here's the thing. So when you're prospecting, where did my water go? When you're prospecting, you remember that example I gave you when I talked to those men? And when I went into that restaurant and I talked to those men at the bar, I wanted to open their minds to the concept of residual income. I didn't say anything about network marketing. I didn't say anything about For Life. I didn't say anything about transfer factor. And I didn't say how much money I made. I just said ever since then, I've lived off residual income. I haven't needed a job. That was it. So when we think about it, it's the words we say that really turn people on and off. If you want to be, I read an interesting statistic, very fascinating statistic. I went in my library and pulled an old book out. It was published in 1994. How many of you ever heard of John Callenge? Okay, he was the Eric Worre back then. John Callenge, he was the authority in network marketing. And on one of his pages, he said it's a industry statistic that if you prospect 10 people, you will recruit 3. That's a fact. Now, how many of you do that? You prospect 10 people, you recruit 3. Has it changed? Might have to do more than that, right? Really, when we think about it, how can we do that? Because I can remember, well, let me even reverse that. It's also a fact that you look at any millionaire in any network marketing company, they have averaged between 100 and 150 people that they personally sponsored to get there. Between 100 to 150. I can remember my first 2 years, I recruited 72. Now I might have prospected about 250. Again, my closing was pretty good. It was pretty good. I think you can be great at it too. But we have to choose the words that people want to hear. In the case that I gave you, the example of those men, I opened their minds to the concept of residual income. When they asked me, well, what is it you do? I could say, this would be like the Europeans. I have fun with this because the Europeans, our leaders over there, they call it the molecules. Isn't that scary? The molecules. They said, I do the molecule. Do you know about the molecule? It's like a horror flick, man. Anyway, yeah, so there's a lot of ways that you can answer that. And we can really, we can say, yeah, I do network marketing. You know about that business? You could be financially independent. You could be rich. Do you know about transfer factor? I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, and you're going to totally turn them off and blow them away. See, here's the thing I want you to remember. Remember this. People are not interested in our product. They're not looking for that. They're not looking for life. You know what they're looking for? Does anybody know? My wife,
Freedom.
yeah, but you follow my trainings. You can't give the answer. They're looking for solutions to their problems in life. That's the only thing people are looking for. That's it. So I want you to understand, when you prospect, you have to prospect with that in mind. Now you can say, well, I don't know about everybody's problems. No, I know that. But I'm saying in general that is what people are looking for. And so then most of it, not all of it, but most of it is financially related. What you got to get good at doing is finding the language. You know what the most popular beat there is in music? Does anybody know? Anybody know anything about it? Somebody in Europe got this. I could, huh? What in the world are you talking about? Here it is. Here it is. Don't you just want to move when you hear that? That's the 4/4 beat. 4/4 beat. That is the #1 most popular beat in the world that people, I don't care what your language is, whether you're Japanese, Korean, Malay, Chinese, it doesn't matter, because music transcends it all. You get that beat going, and man, you'll have their attention. It's funny too, when we have people come over to our house, like they bring their kids and all that, when they walk into my game room and I got a stage there with band equipment, the first thing they go to every time is the drums. It's never the guitars, never the keyboards, always the drums. But you know what? The 4/4 beat, anybody can do. The 4/4 beat is so easy to learn. And yet you look at some of the greatest drummers like Neil Peart and some others, I mean, incredible drummers. But that's not what sells. That's not what sells. What sells with people is the 4/4 beat. And what you have to do is find that language and find the words that appeal to what? Solutions to their problems in life. And that's why I go right to residual income. I want to open their minds to residual income through products and services and get paid on it for a lifetime. So that's the thing. And once we start connecting with people that way and get good at sharing, why you did this, your story. Your story begins when you started with For Life. You had your reasons. With some, it might be a struggling mother. And all she wants to do is be home with her children, not take them to daycare or drop them off with the relatives, right? And she can share that story with another woman who has children, and that other woman's going, you know what? Wow, that's me too. Oh, that's you too. Really? Yeah. But again, she's putting in the sandwich. She's saying, you know what? We call it the feel, felt, found. Feel, felt, found. Some of you heard that. Yeah, I feel the same way. I felt just like you do. And here's what I found out. I found a way to create residual income through products and services, and now I am a stay-at-home mother. I'm loving it. And then she's like, wow, really? I would like to do that. That's right. She's not talking about For Life. She's not, again, just like me when I was talking to those men, not talking about the product. I'm not talking about network marketing, any of that, or how much money I make. None of that. I'm just opening the mind. And that's what you have to do with your story. We have to be what I call empathetic prospectors. Empathetic prospectors, where we show empathy to other people. We understand what people are going through. They have a difficult life. They have a complicated life. The last thing we want to do is complicate it more, right? But we want to show them a way. And when we do that, and we do that through our story, we do that through the words. We got the 4/4 beat, because again, when you're in that moment with them, and you get a chance to, and she says, well, what is it? What do you do? That's when I hit my button and I'm going, doo, doo, doo. 4/4 beat, and then here come the words. Yeah, well, it's like this. Somebody introduced a product to me, and I liked it. I liked it very much. I never bury in my story. I was getting a massage one time. Same thing, laid down, the woman came in, get ready to give me a massage. She says, well, what do you do? And I thought, oh my gosh, Jeff, you're supposed to relax, man. No, forget it. Go to the 4/4 beat. Oh yeah, well, it's like this. Somebody introduced a product to me. Yeah, rub me right there, man. And I liked it very much, you know. That's the thing. Find the words. Understand what appeals people and what repels people. That's the thing. So it's been fun being here, and it's been great sharing the stage with Dave and Chase and being here with all of you. Sadiq, good seeing you, and Sherry, and so many of you. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, so let's hang around. We're going to enjoy this evening, get a chance to talk one-on-one. And again, I want to wish you all the success. And listen, there's one thing I want to say too. Yeah, I always think about these things. Anyway, again, back to false stories. People talk about, oh, well, we're going into economic uncertainty, inflation, everything. Let me tell you something. That's when network marketing gets better. That's when it gets better. When I joined back, I think it was in 1977, with Forever Living Products, FLP, the aloe vera juice, I bought a case. That was my first company. The guy sold me the case. I said, okay, what do I do? You go sell it, man. You know, you build it, you know. I said, really? Okay. You know, that's the thing. It was one of those things that I said, well, I really can't afford it. He said, you can't afford not to do it. Yeah, just turn it. You got to get good at selling it. You leaders. You can't afford it. You can't afford not to do this. This is going to be big. This is going to be huge. This is your chance. That's leadership, friends. And we thrive. When things are bad, we thrive. And back then in the 70s, guess what? Herbalife took off like that. They exploded. Why? Because times were bad. So did other companies. Forever Living Products took off. Shackley took off. All of them did. They thrived during bad times. And when times are good, people, I got enough money, I'm good. Now you might sell some product, but getting them involved in the business, it's hard to do that when everything is good. So I say, really take this time to sharpen your skills with the very things I talked about. And don't buy false stories or, you know, that you hear in the news or whatever. Create your future. Be a beacon of light. Teach your people to be active and urgent with the fast start. This is the time to build. And this is the time you're going to find the right people. And let us be the company. The other companies, they're going to, let them lay low. They're still trying to figure out how to transcend after the pandemic. We know what we got to do. Let's just do it. It's been fun being here. Thanks.